These two stars helped lead the Phillies during the second half. On a scorching Saturday evening in Philadelphia, welcome to Citizens Bank Park. It's the second of a three-game weekend series between the Philadelphia Phillies and the Atlanta Braves. Good evening, everybody. Kenny Albert with Eric Karros following a rain delay of just under an hour. Welcome to Baseball Night in America. Braves won the series opener last night, 5-0. Phillies have lost 8 of their last 9, and tonight they will send the veteran right-hander Joe Blanton to the mound to try and stop the bleeding.
Well, and he does have to stop the bleeding because that's what the Phillies have been doing this entire first half. Now, he's been the horse of this staff along with Cole Hamels. In fact, he's thrown 2 complete games this year. That's 2 more than Hamels, Holiday, and Lee combined. Now, he goes against a Braves offense that has started to swing the bat as of late. In fact, Brian McCann in his last 3 ball games has really come on. 2 home runs, including this grand slam last night, and 7 RBIs. If the Braves hope to compete for the postseason as we move into the second half, Brian McCann is going to have to continue to stay hot.
Braves look to make it 2 in a row here in Philadelphia. Phillies are out for revenge. Well, the rest of the National League East is much improved. Bryce Harper leading the way for the Washington Nationals. The Mets, with their outstanding pitching, are keeping pace. And the Florida Marlins are in the thick of the race as well. Who will it be in the NL East? Phillies and Braves coming up next on Fox. But it feels like 100 chance of thunderstorms, light rain over the last hour. The tarp was out on the field, but baseball just moments away.
Well, it is just moments away, and I guess if anything, you can thank goodness that this place isn't turf, as it used to be many years ago, because you want to talk about sweltering heat. We were down on the field a little earlier today, and it almost made it difficult to breathe. You know, at least it's a night game. We got a little rain, cool things off a bit, but you see Joe Blanton down there, he's getting ready. We're still a couple minutes away.
Blanton, the 31-year-old right-hander, record of 7-7, the 2 complete games Eric referred to during our open. Well, the Braves 5-0 winners here last night. But prior to that, the Phillies had won 9 of the last 10 games against Atlanta.
Well, and you look at the difference it's been in the relief ERA, but that's where the Phillies got burned last night. Estardo came in a 0-0 ball game and just couldn't hold down anything. Brian McCann hits a grand slam. The Braves score 5 runs. Quite frankly, the Braves don't care about what's happened in the past. They're looking at tonight and tomorrow and moving forward.
Blanton and Tommy Hanson, the pitching matchup. Braves 5.5 out in the East. First pitch from Philadelphia coming up right after these messages. That streak is in jeopardy. 9 consecutive winning seasons. That streak is in jeopardy. Phillies 11 games under the 500 mark for the first time since June of 2002.
No, it hasn't been smooth sailing at all. You're talking about divisional titles right now. That's the last thing on Charlie Manuel's mind. We talked to him before the game. His only concern, go out and play hard tonight, see what happens. Approach it day by day, because if you start looking at the big picture, it looks daunting right now for these Philadelphia Phillies.
On the other side, the Atlanta Braves, manager Freddie Gonzalez, 5 games over 500, 44 and 39, 5.5 out of the National League East. Washington Nationals in first place, a 4-1 victory over the Colorado Rockies earlier today.
Yeah, but if you also remember, the wild card exists, and there are 2 wild card teams this year from each league. Right now, the Braves are tied in the loss column for that second team in the wild card. So they're right there. They feel like offensively they have room for improvement, that they can get better in this second half. And hey, if they do, they may still make a run for this divisional title.
Last night here in Philadelphia, game number 85 for the Phillies this season. Game number 1 for Ryan Howard.
Yeah, Ryan Howard back. You see the fans excited. Everybody thinks that he's going to be coming here on the white horse to save the day. The reality is he's one player, and he's not going to be the type of guy that can carry a club like we've seen in the past for these Philadelphia Phillies. But what he is, he's a presence, he's a bat, and he is a threat for this Philadelphia ball club.
Howard not in the Phillies starting lineup tonight. He's just 2 for 15 lifetime against Tommy Hanson. To check out these career numbers.
Yeah, those are great career numbers, and you'd expect him to be in the lineup. But as you just mentioned, Kenny, those numbers, 2 for 15, but also 8 strikeouts against Tommy Hanson. Probably not a guy that Charlie Manuel wants Ryan Howard to face.
But the Phillies excited about Howard's return last night. He went 2 for 4 after playing in 7 minor league games. As the Phillies take the field following the rain delay of just under 1 hour. Here's Chase Utley getting set to play in his 9th game. Joe Blanton heading out to the mound. He will face these Atlanta Braves. Their batting order brought to you by Taco Bell. Sometimes you gotta live Moss. The All-Star Michael Bourne, named a replacement earlier today, will lead off. The former Philly in center field, followed by left fielder Martin Prado. Jason Hayward bats third. 40-year-old All-Star Chipper Jones in the cleanup spot. Then first baseman Freddie Freeman, catcher Brian McCann. Second baseman Dan Uggla bats 7th tonight. The rookie shortstop Andrelton Simmons, National League Rookie of the Month for June. And the pitcher Tommy Hanson will bat 9th. Joe Blanton 7-7 this season. Lifetime against the Braves, just 2 and 4.
Just 2 and 4, but remember earlier this year he had a great start against these Atlanta Braves. On May 3rd, he pitched a complete game. Went only 2 hours and 2 minutes, only gave up 3 hits, and that's why he's got to pretend it's May. Of those 3 hits, all of them were singles. Watch out, though, for Brian McCann. Brian McCann has a lot of success against Joe Blanton, and again, he is swinging the bat well. 8 for 21 career.
And home runs in each of his last 2 games for the Braves. The opening pitch of tonight's game brought to you by Budweiser. Great times are waiting. Grab some buds. Clear skies here in Philadelphia. Season series tied at 2. Phillies won 2 of 3 from the Braves in Atlanta back in early May, including that Blanton complete game shutout. And the Braves scored all 5 of their runs last night, including the McCann grand slam. So the former Philly, Michael Bourne, leads off. Earlier today, learned that he will replace Ian Desmond of the Nationals on the National League All-Star roster. It will be his 2nd trip. Bourne an All-Star back in 2010, representing the Houston Astros. Bourne, Prado, and Hayward for the Braves here in the top of the 1st inning as Blanton delivers and Bourne fouls it back, 0-1. Bourne hitting .305, that's 9th in the National League. He's 3rd in the league in hits with 106. Polanco playing it at 3rd across to Mayberry for out number 1 as we take a look at the Phillies defensively. Pierre, Victorino, and Pence from left to right. In the outfield, Mayberry at 1st for Howard, Utley at 2nd, Rollins at short, Polanco at 3rd, the battery of Blanton, and the All-Star Carlos Ruiz.
Number 14, left fielder Martin Prado.
So with 1 away on this 91-degree evening, following a 58-minute rain delay, here is Martin Prado. An All-Star 2 years ago. Prado takes ball 1. Prado is 7th in the National League, batting .321, and is 6th in the league in hits. So the table setters doing a terrific job for the Braves this season, Bourne and Prado.
Well, you mentioned the table setters have been good, and the Atlanta Braves have been putting men on base. Where they have struggled, getting those base runners in. Hitting in the 230s as a team with runners in scoring position this year.
On the ground to the right side, Utley to Mayberry, 2 away. So 2 ground ball outs induced by Blanton as Jason Hayward steps in. Hayward 0 for 6 lifetime against Joe Blanton. First pitch from Blanton, missing high and away, ball 1.
Well, one thing you know is, as a hitter, when you go face Joe Blanton, you're going to get strikes. One of the best in baseball at limited walks, throws pitches over the plate.
He's allowed 19 home runs this season, which is tied for the National League lead with Mike Minor of the Braves. Left field off the bat of Hayward. Juan Pierre is under it. An 8-pitch, 1-2-3 first inning for Joe Blanton. .37-48 Philadelphia Phillies. Their batting order brought to you by Taco Bell. Sometimes you gotta live Moss. Rollins, then Shane Victorino, the center fielder. Chase Utley will hit third. Carlos Ruiz in the cleanup spot. Right fielder Hunter Pence bats fifth. Then Placido Polanco. Left fielder Juan Pierre. First baseman John Mayberry. And the pitcher Joe Blanton, as the Phillies get set to face the 26-year-old right-hander Tommy Hanson, comes in with a record of 9-5.
Yeah, really the main guy for this Atlanta ball club this first half. Tim Hudson coming back and throwing well as well. For him, he's got to be that continued road warrior. In his last 5 starts on the road, he's 4-0. And trust yourself, he dominates this lineup of Philadelphia, giving up only 1 home run, and that's to Ryan Howard. Just get the ball over the plate and you'll be fine.
Rollins, first pitch. Right field. Hayward, 1 out. Defensively for the Atlanta Braves. In the outfield from left to right, Prado, Bourne, and Hayward. Freeman at first, Uglett second, Simmons at short, Chipper Jones at third. The battery of Hanson and the 6-time All-Star Ryan McCann. 1 pitch, 1 away. Here's center fielder Shane Victorino. Victorino, a 2-time All-Star. Batting just .248 this season. Switch hitter. Batting from the left side against Hanson. Takes a called strike, 0-1. See the microphone that Shane is wearing for us tonight here on Baseball Night in America.
Well, Shane Victorino, if you look at his numbers, they're not typical Victorino numbers, but he's been thrust into a position because of the injuries to a lot of the guys where he and Hunter Pence have really had to carry the ball club. You know, he's more of a guy that is a complementary player, a support guy that can put up outstanding numbers in that role. But when he's asked to hit third, to hit fourth, to hit fifth, to be a middle of the lineup guy, that's really out of his character.
The 1-2 to Victorino. Hansen missing inside. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Now the 2-2. The count is full with Chase Utley waiting on deck. One out, bottom of the first inning in Philadelphia, following a 58-minute rain delay. Braves retired in order in the top half. And now Victorino is down on strikes for out number 2.
Well, and you see here a 3-2 pitch gets a breaking ball about 80 miles an hour. Again, if you're Shane Victorino, you're thinking, I'm going to probably get a fastball. But the reality is, even though Chase Utley by name is hitting behind you, it's not the Chase Utley of old.
It's the Chase Utley who returned on June 27th from the disabled list. This only his 9th game of the season. Fastball in for ball 1. The 5-time All-Star Utley, 7 hits in 26 at-bats. Four for 16 lifetime against Blanton. 1-0. Now 1-1 as we take you back to June 27th, his first at-bat of the season against James McDonald of the Pirates.
Makes it look so easy. Philadelphia fans are excited. You know, it's one of those things, too, when you come back off the DL or after an absence, the adrenaline's real going, you're fired up, you're ready to go. But it's tough to sustain that after the first week, after the second week, after the first month. But that first day back, boy, you're ready to run through a wall.
Utley went 3 for 5 in that first game. Just 4 for 21 since. The 1-2 from Hansen, a called strike 3. So Hansen retires the Phillies in order, including a pair of strikeouts. Chipper Jones will lead off for the Atlanta Braves when we return to Philadelphia. Budweiser is sponsored by Taco Bell. Sometimes you gotta live Moss. Top of the second inning here in Philadelphia. Kenny Albert, Eric Karros. Baseball night in America as Chipper Jones leads off against Joe Blanton. Swings at the first pitch and pops it up. Shallow center field. Rollins waiting. Makes the catch, one away. A very efficient start to this game. There have been 20 pitches thrown by Blanton and Hansen combined, and 7 outs have been recorded on those 20 pitches.
Well, and you think that's probably going to happen against a guy like Blanton because he will throw you a lot of strikes. And as a hitter, you're cognizant of that, so you're up there being aggressive.
So with one away, here's Freddie Freeman. To Freeman. Fastball in for strike one. Fastball missing inside. Now 2-1.
You know, this is a guy for me that needs to step it up a bit in the second half, especially with runners in scoring position. You know, he's an RBI guy, a middle of the lineup guy, and right now he's got 81 at bats and is hitting under 200 with runners in scoring position. He can do a lot better than that.
Freeman sends this to deep left field. Pierre back on the warning track, makes the catch for out number 2. As we check out our 4 keys to the game.
Well, very simple. The Braves, they have that lead after 6. They are a major league best 37-1. The Phillies, the problem they've had this year, that middle relief corps. Joe Blanton, if he can go 6 or 7 innings, 8 innings, give the ball to Papelbon, that's a recipe for success.
2 outs. Here's the catcher, Brian McCann, the Braves hero last night. The 8th inning grand slam. His 2nd grand slam this season against the Phillies. No player in baseball history, Eric, has ever hit 3 grand slams in one season against the same opponent. Two-one, and McCann crushes this one to deep right field. Pence will watch it go. A home run for Brian McCann. He's gone deep in 3 consecutive games. The Braves take a 1-0 lead.
Well, Brian McCann continues the torrid hitting. This is just a fastball up, out, over the plate. You see McCann, he just gets extension. Stays behind the ball. It's almost a middle away pitch. Again, doesn't have a lot of velocity on that pitch, and it's up in the zone. That's a great job of Brian McCann right there. Gets the barrel of the bat on the ball. You mentioned, though, 3rd home run now, 3 days.
Number 12 on the season, and the league-leading 20th allowed by Blanton this year. Dan Uggla takes strike 2.
Well, and the ironic thing with Blanton, his first 6 games, only 1 home run allowed. He's been on a torrid pace since then.
19 over the last 11 starts, including tonight. So McCann, who struggled mightily during the month of June, he hit 193 with only 2 home runs, has come alive here in July.
Well, Freddie Gonzalez, the manager of the Braves, gave McCann some time off. Let him watch a few ball games, go work on some things in the cage, and there's Freddie right there. But Brian McCann has had so much success that you knew in time he'd be able to find it. Right now, swinging the bat as well as he's had all year long.
Uggla not swinging the bat well, just 9 for his last 88 coming into play tonight.
No, we talked to Freddie again before the game, and we were mentioning that when Uggla goes in the tank, it's no messing around. He goes in, and he goes in deep and hard. It's not a 1 for 9 or a 2 for 13. He's going to throw you an 8 for 80 or something. But he's also the same guy that can get as hot as anybody. Remember last year he had a 33-game hitting streak.
Uggla just 3 for 25 lifetime against Joe Blanton with no home runs. Payoff pitch from Blanton. Uggla pops it up down the left field line. And the catcher's made in foul territory by Juan Pierre. But the Braves take the lead. The all-star catcher Carlos Ruiz will lead off for the Phillies when we return. By Bud Light Lime, summer is calling. No doubt that it is summer here in Philadelphia. 91 degrees at game time. Braves lead the Phillies on the McCann home run. 1-0 as Carlos Ruiz steps in. Leading off for the Phillies here in the bottom of the second inning. Ruiz in his 14th season in the Phillies organization. Heading to the All-Star game in Kansas City on Tuesday.
Has made great strides as a hitter these past few years.
First pitch, deep left field. Toronto on the warning track. It's off the top of the wall. So Ruiz hit it second with a leadoff double. First hit of the game, first base runner for the Phillies.
He jumps on a high fastball here. Gets up on top of the ball. He's hoping maybe I got one right here. Maybe I got one. And what's good is he starts low and stays low through the zone. He doesn't stand up. So Prado going back and see that makeshift fence. It hits the top of the padding, hits that little fence and comes back. That fence is part of the wall. It's not one of those things that's behind the wall. So that is the correct call.
So Ruiz in scoring position. Hunter Pence leading the Phillies in home runs with 16, runs batted in with 50. His 10-game hitting streak came to an end last night. Pence went 0 for 3 in the series opener. Foul back over the screen, 0-2.
I mean, he's a guy I think that will benefit from the return of Ryan Howard and Chase Utley. The reason I say that, he also has been thrust into that role of, I've got to be the guy, I've got to be the man. He's had 105 at-bats with runners in scoring position this year. He's hitting .219. So although he's got nice numbers, they could be a lot better. Now he doesn't have to be the guy.
The 0-2 from Hansen, a base hit to left field. Ruiz will hold at third. The Phillies have runners on the corners with nobody out here at the bottom of the second inning.
This is a ball hit in the hole, and now you're thinking, oh, he just had a base hit to left. Why didn't the runner score? Well, Ruiz does the right thing. At second base, he holds to see, I got to wait. Okay, I wait. I make sure the ball is through. Then I get over to third base. I've got nobody out. I'm at third. I'm in a great position to score. Last thing you want to do is just take off and then get thrown out at third.
So first and third for Placido Polanco, who takes ball one. Big opportunity early in the game for the Phillies. Shutout last night for the fourth time this season. Much better numbers here at home for Polanco. And he is 6 for 12 lifetime against Hansen, who receives a visit from Brian McCann.
McCann just trying to settle Hansen down. Hansen, after allowing those two hits, you look back at the numbers he's had against Ruiz and Pence. He's dominated both of those hitters. He's got to feel a bit frustrated. Freddie Gonzalez looking on. Right now, what you want to do, though, is minimize damage. Go ahead and give him that run at third, but make sure this doesn't turn into a big inning.
The 2-0. Hansen missing away. Ball 3. The 3-0 called strike. 3-1 on Polanco with Juan Pierre waiting on deck.
Polanco handles the bat real well. He's got a huge hole on that right side. Ugla shading towards second base for the double play. Freeman holding Pence on at first.
(3-1) on the ground to the left side. The throw home is in time. Ruiz is tagged out on the throw from Chipper Jones. So with one away, runners on first and second for the Phillies. Time for a game break. DirecTV game break with Matt Vescursion as we check in on the Twins and the Rangers, Matt.
Kenny, Josh Hamilton left last night's game with back spasms. He was listed as day-to-day today, and apparently the back's feeling better. His 27th home run of the year ties it up with the Twins and ties Hamilton with Toronto's Jose Bautista for the Major League home run lead. If you call yourself a sports fan, you got to get DirecTV. Call 1-800-DIRECT-TV. Back to Kenny and Eric in Philadelphia.
All right, thanks very much, Matt. Look at the Major League home run leaders, 27 apiece for Hamilton and Bautista. Juan Pierre at the plate, one out. First and second for the Phillies. 0-1. Pierre batting .312, but is 0 for his last 7. Pence the runner at second. And Polanco over at first.
See Freeman back, giving up that right side if Pierre were to take one with him. Usually doesn't like to bunt that way. Usually will head towards third.
He swings and sends this one to deep right field off the wall. Pence involved in a collision with Juan Samuel, the third base coach. He scores. Holding at third is Polanco. There's Samuel knocked down by Hunter Pence. Phillies have tied the game at 1.
Well, you don't see that very often. Juan Samuel getting cleaned out right there. Juan just got caught too much in the play right there. You know, and it's one thing if the third base coach aids the runner, he can be called for interference. That obviously, though, he wasn't aiding anybody. He just couldn't get out of the way. And that's what Freddie Gonzalez is talking about right now with Bob Davidson. Juan just couldn't demonstrate those quick feet that he had as a player. Yeah, there he goes. 20 years ago.
Did that collision affect Polanco, who held at third?
No, Polanco's going there at third all the way. There's no way. Hayward gets that ball in immediately. Did a nice job. I thought possibly they were going to have a play at the plate after Samuel and Pence collided. And Pence does the right thing. He's heading back now. It looks like he's looking all the way. I just don't know. You know, Samuel just got in his line. You know, he should have been further out or closer to the Braves dugout than where he was. Hunter getting a laugh at. He's loving it. Good thing Sammy at third base had that helmet on. Yeah, Samuel doesn't look too happy about it. Have to see what happens when he gets in the dugout. That's a big man, Hunter, though, I'll tell you. He can't get it out of it. I think Samuel thinks he was doing it on purpose.
You don't see too many highlights involving third base coaches. Of course, you think back to the All-Star game with Tommy Lasorda and the bat of Vladimir Guerrero.
I can honestly say I don't ever recall a runner running into the third base coach that far down the line. I mean, the thing is, the Hunter's looking straight ahead. It's like, I'm not sure what he was looking at, but Juan Samuel was just right in his line.
Juan attempted to take the charge.
Well, you got to go to the right or left. You can't just keep moving back. Because you going back and Pence going forward, Pence is going to run you down.
So Joe Blanton at the plate now, the Phillies pitcher with the bases loaded. And 1 out. Blanton 1 hit in 29 at-bats this season. Of course, you think back to his most memorable at-bat of his career, Game 4 of the 2008 World Series, when he went deep and was the winning pitcher in the game.
Well, he'd like to get something in the air right now, keep it off the ground. Wants to stay away from the double play. And look, even okay to strike out right now.
Look who's right behind Blanton.
Tommy Hanson.
A 1-2 from Hanson, missing low and away. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Bases full of Phillies. Polanco, Pierre, and Mayberry. Blanton at the plate with 1 out. 1 run in the inning on 3 hits and a walk. Full count.
A little surprised that Hansen's been that careful with Blanton in the last 2 pitches. Now he's got himself in a bit of a conundrum. You got a 3-2 situation. Got to throw something over the plate. Got to believe Blanton's just swinging.
Blanton swings out to base hit into right field. Throw to second is not in time. Phillies lead 2-1 as Polanco scores. Second hit and first run batted in of the season for Joe Blanton, helping his own cause.
Well, Blanton makes up his mind, I think. Right now, I'm swinging. And that's the problem that Hansen has when he throws those curveballs on 3-1 on the 2 previous pitches to go to a full count. Shouldn't have been messing around because, like I said, Blanton made up his mind before Hansen even delivered the pitch that he was swinging.
Here's Rollins with the bases loaded. Nice block by McCann. Ron Pierre at third. John Mayberry takes his lead off second. And the pitcher Joe Blanton at first. There's Hunter Pence, who scored the first Phillies run after knocking over his third base coach, Juan Samuel. Rollins takes low and inside, ball 2.
Hansen just got himself in trouble after the walk to Mayberry. He just can't find the plate at all. 2 curveballs out of the zone to Blanton, goes to a 3-2 fastball, gets ripped. Now behind Rollins, 2-0.
25th pitch of the inning thrown by Hansen. Rollins went around 2-1. Two runs on 4 hits in the inning for the Phillies. Still only 1 out with the bases loaded and Shane Victorino waiting on deck. On the ground to the right side. Uggla spins, throws to second. Scoring is Pierre. And the Phillies now lead 3-1. Blanton receiving high fives from his teammates following his run scoring single. So now first and third with 2 outs for Shane Victorino, the 8th Philly to bat this inning. Rollins diving back in at first. Victorino struck out his first time up. Hansen running into trouble here in the second inning. It all started with the Carlos Ruiz double off the top of the wall in left center. Throw down to second by McCann. And Rollins is out, and that will end the inning. But the Phillies score 3 runs on 4 hits. We'll return to Philadelphia and chat with Tim Hudson after these messages from your local station. Of the third inning, Phillies leading the Braves 3-1. Kenny Albert, Eric Karros, baseball night in America. As Andrelton Simmons will lead off for Atlanta. Simmons without a hit in his last 13 at bats. He'll be followed by Hansen and Bourne. Simmons takes a called strike as we welcome in from the Braves dugout last night's winning pitcher, now 7-4 on the season, Tim Hudson, 7 shutout innings. Tim, thanks for joining us. You had a bird's eye view of that collision between Hunter Pence and third base coach Juan Samuel during the last half inning. Have you ever seen anything like that before?
You know, it happens on occasion, man. But it's pretty comical. They'll be on highlight reels for the next 10, 15 years with that one. He got smoked, man. I don't think he was too happy.
Huddy, you had a great game last night. We saw, though, early on battling some ankle injury. Give us a status on that, and are you looking for some cortisone shots coming up anytime soon?
Yeah, well, you know, I just got one last night, so it's you know, it's on the way to recovery. It's just, you know, a couple bone spurs in there, and you know, just been inflamed now for a few weeks now, and you know, just been kind of dealing with it, getting the treatment on it, and trying to get it to feel better. But I think this break is going to be nice. I'm going to have 7 days before my next start, and this cortisone shot that we put in there last night, I think it's hopefully calm it down and, you know, keep me from walking around like Fred Sanford out there. You know what I'm saying?
How does it impact you the most? I mean, does it certain pitches or throwing or pushing off the mound? Or
well, the one thing is you know, whenever I really push off the rubber and land on it and torque on it really hard to finish my pitches, that's when it'll bite me every now and again. And sometimes it'll hyperextend a little bit. And when it hyperextends a little bit, it'll jab it some. And it's just you know, for the first few weeks after the initial injury from it, you know, I just had to land really softly on the mound, and you know, I feel like it was maybe taking a little bit away from some of my stuff that I was able to go out there with. But you know, it's just part of it. You know, you have to go out there and battle some things. Nobody's 100%. Everybody's dealing with little aches and pains here and now, especially this time of year. And you know, nobody likes to cry, baby. You want to go out there and try to get your job done and give your team a chance to win.
Especially a guy like you, only 22 years old. You know, a young man like yourself.
That's right. That's right.
So what? Hey, the second half. You know, why do you guys feel like you can catch the Nationals, run them down? I mean, where do you guys feel like you can get better?
Well, you know, I think our starting pitching can do better. I think our starting pitching can go deeper into games, pound the strike zone a little better. You know, give us a little better chance to win. You know, I think our bullpen can improve some. Yeah, I think we're just now starting to come in our own offensively. I think we have some guys that are really starting to swing it a lot better than we did in the first half. You know, we're going to have you know, Simmons at shortstop for the whole second half. I think he's been a godsend for us, both defensively and offensively for us. And you know, I think guys are just really starting to feel like they're getting in some kind of rhythm and playing a little better. But I do think our pitching is where it's all we're gonna win or lose games from. And you know, as a veteran, you know, guy on the rotation, you know, I feel like I need to set an example and let some of these young guys go out there and, you know, try to have some quicker innings and pitch down in the zone and get some quick outs and save that bullpen a little bit.
Who in the National League East has surprised you team-wise the most? Has it been the Nationals, the Mets?
Well, I don't know that the Nationals really surprised anybody. I think everybody knew they were improved. I think the big surprise is the Mets. You know, they seem like they really are a good ball club with not a whole lot of household names over there. They have a lot of young guys that they brought up through the organization, and you know, their pitching has really been doing well. You know, R.A. Dickey, who expected R.A. to go out there and be, you know, a potential all-star starter. So it's, you know, they really they're playing well, and you know, we haven't played. I don't think we've played them since that first series. I think they may have come to Atlanta one time, but you know, they took it to us the first series of the year in New York, and you know, I think they haven't really looked back since.
2 outs here in the top of the third inning. Michael Bourne on at first, following his 2-out single to right. Here's Martin Prado as we continue to chat with 7-game winner Tim Hudson. Tim, you have 4 teammates heading to the All-Star game in Kansas City, including 40-year-old Chipper Jones. Has some of the stuff that he's done this season amazed you at the age of 40? A 5-hit game earlier this week?
Yeah, well, you know, it's a special year. You know, obviously, you know, went through it a couple years ago with Bobby Cox. You know, his last year with the Braves, and you know, it's a similar kind of feel with Chipper leaving. You know, obviously everybody wants to see him go out on a high note. He's playing well. You know, everybody's obviously really excited for him to get to go to the All-Star game and represent this, you know, the organization, and obviously he deserves it from his performance on the field, but I think he deserves it more for what he's done for the game, you know, over his last, you know, 19 years playing this game. So it's exciting to see. You know, I can tell that he's really enjoying this year, and he's going out there and doing what he can. Obviously, he can't play every day, but he's going out there and giving us all he has whenever he is out there. And that's what you want, man. He's making some good examples for these young guys.
Ball is rolling to the wall off the bat of Prado. Bourne scores easily as the Braves cut the Phillies' lead to 3-2.
You think Bourne could have scored from first with your ankles, Huddy?
I don't know, man. He probably would have had some. I have wooden ankles right now.
That guy.
They just splintered out.
Now, what a great season he's had for you. I mean, you got to love pitching with a guy like that in center field behind you.
You know, I'll tell you what, he's been great, man, ever since he's been here. You know, he's swinging the bat. He's a table setter for us. You know, he and Martin Prado are, I think, the two best 1-2 punches in the game. You know, it's a shame that Martin's not going to the All-Star game. He definitely deserves it as much as anybody. He's, you know, one of our MVPs of our club. We're obviously really excited that Barney's going. You know, he's I can't believe it took him this long for them to add him to the roster. I think he should have been on there without even a vote. But, you know, obviously I'm a little biased. But, you know, it's fun to see those guys go out there and play and you know, get these guys behind them like Hayward and B-Mac and Chipper knocking these guys in. It's fun to watch, man. The guys. You know, Hayward's really been playing well lately. Brian's starting to really find his swing. He's had a couple big games the last couple games, and another one tonight with a homer. So, you know, we're excited to see where hopefully we just can take this into the second half and put some pressure on the Nationals.
Popped up to the right side. Mayberry makes the catch. Tim, thanks for joining us. Best of luck.
You're welcome, guys. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Huddy.
3-2 Phillies, mid-third. Night in America, presented by Budweiser. Kenny Albert, Eric Karros from Citizens Bank Park in Philadelphia. Shane Victorino leading off here in the bottom of the third inning. He flies out to Hayward in right. Remember, Victorino was at the plate when Rollins was caught stealing to end the Phillies' threat back in the second inning. So one pitch, one away. Here in the third, Victorino 0 for 2. So with one away, Chase Utley called out on strikes, his first time up. Nothing in one on Utley with Carlos Ruiz waiting on deck. Ryan Howard not in the starting lineup tonight. Interesting article here in the Philadelphia area today, Eric. When you look at Howard, Rollins, Victorino, Utley, Ruiz, and Polanco. Since the start of the 2010 season, Charlie Manuel has had all 6 of those players in his starting lineup less than 10% of the time.
Yeah, and you talk about those 40 games, they average almost 5.25 runs per game. They're 29-11 with those 6 in the lineup. That just goes to show you, if you could ever get some consistency as far as health and get those guys out there, they're great. The reality is you can't do it.
All major cogs of a club that has won 5 consecutive division crowns. Franchise record 102 wins last season. Utley came back a week and a half ago. Howard returned last night. But the Phillies with a long way to go. 13.5 behind the first place Nationals as we approach the All-Star break.
Well, look, it's not probable that they're going to run off a stretch where they go 20-2, but they do feel like it is possible with this group because they are experienced guys. They have a starting staff that can be dominant. They have impact players coming back. Now, whether or not they're healthy enough to be the same type of player they were in the past, that remains to be seen. But they are still holding out hope.
Roy Halladay expected back pretty soon following the All-Star break.
The only thing I will say, hope, though, is not a strategy. All it is just hope. And you can't be sitting around hoping for too long.
2-2 to Utley, gets the bat on it. Shallow left field. Shortstop Simmons is called off by the left fielder Prado. Now 2 away. Well, this Tuesday, don't miss the biggest event of the summer as baseball's greatest stars battle for home field advantage in the Fall Classic. The road to the World Series begins with the 2012 Major League Baseball All-Star Game. Tuesday at 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific. The Home Run Derby Monday at 8 on ESPN. Red Carpet Show at 4 p.m. Tuesday on MLB Network. And then the All-Star Game on Fox Tuesday night from Kansas City. Ruiz fouls off the first pitch from Hansen. 0-1.
He going after the same type of pitch he did his first at bat, a high fastball, unable to catch up with that.
Center field, Michael Bourne settles under it. And the Phillies are retired in order on 10 pitches by Tommy Hansen in the 3rd. is sponsored by Ford. Go further. And by the makers of One A Day Men's, the official multivitamin of Major League Baseball. Phillies lead the Braves 3-2. Top of the fourth inning in Philadelphia, as Chipper Jones leads off against Joe Blanton. Middle of the order for the Braves: Jones, Freeman, and McCann. McCann went deep in the second inning, giving Atlanta a 1-0 lead. Phillies would then score 3 in the bottom of the second inning. 1-1 on Jones, who popped out to the shortstop Rollins, his first time up. Chipper's ranks among active players, currently working on a 12-game hitting streak, as Blanton misses inside, now 2-2.
Hall of Fame numbers right there.
Absolutely.
Go down as one of the great switch hitters this game has ever seen.
And Chipper extends his hitting streak to 13 games with a leadoff single into right field. Chipper has announced this will be his final season. It's his 19th year as a member of the Braves.
And you look at those guys, and whenever you think of those franchises, that's a face that immediately jumps to mind. It will be odd. Chipper Jones has been here for 2 decades. To have him not in a uniform in Atlanta.
Interesting to hear Tim Hudson compare it to Bobby Cox's final season as manager of the Braves. Chipper has received gifts from many of the opposing teams when he makes his last trip in. So a 13-game hitting streak for Chipper Jones. Freddie Freeman at the plate, fly to left his first time up, and Freeman with a base hit into center field. Jones to second. So the Braves with 2 on and nobody out. Time for another DirecTV game break with Matt Vescursion. Matt?
Kenny, Twins and Rangers. Texas had scored a total of 9 runs in losing their last 5 games, but showing signs of snapping out of it tonight. Adrian Beltre has gone deep in a 3-3 tie in the 6th. If you call yourself a sports fan, you got to get DirecTV. Oh, that's in the 7th. Call 1-800-DirecTV. Back to Kenny and Eric.
Thanks, Matt. 8 All-Stars will represent the Texas Rangers, who have gone to the World Series each of the last 2 seasons. Here's Brian McCann, solo shot back in the second inning. Now comes to the plate with runners on first and second, nobody out, and takes ball 1.
And really the last guy that Blanton wants to see at the plate. Now career-wise 9 for 22 with 3 home runs. McCann is against Blanton.
McCann not an all-star this season. However, he is the only player, Eric, in all of baseball that has played in each of the last 6 all-star games. Derek Jeter voted into all 6 but did not play last year. Second inning off Blanton, number 12 on the season, his 3rd in the last 3 games.
He's finally getting things right, squaring up the ball. Been a nice little stretch right now at the plate.
Fastball missing inside, 3-1. Jones and Freeman back-to-back base hits to lead off the inning. Dan Uggla waiting on deck. Three-1 from Blanton, full count. No doubt why McCann was an all-star each of the last 6 years. Payoff pitch from Blanton. Base hit into right field for McCann. Around third is Chipper Jones. The Braves have tied the game at 3.
Well, McCann is just obviously he's hot right now. Plus, he's facing a pitcher that he absolutely wears out. This ball down in the zone and absolutely scorched. And you say, oh, Hunter Pence should have been able to come up with that cleanly. That ball was hit so darn hard that he didn't have a chance and couldn't really try to charge that thing because it came off the bat so quick. I mean, if you can believe that a ball eats up the right fielder, it actually did. That's how hard hit that ball was.
Still nobody out. First and third for Dan Uggla. Fastball in for a called strike. So a single and a run batted in for McCann. Freeman moves to third on the 5th error of the season committed by Pence. Uggla takes a fastball high, now 1-1.
Well, and this is a guy also that falls into the category of why the Braves think they're going to have a strong second half. They feel McCann's going to be better. They think Uggla is going to get hot soon. He's capable of carrying the club. Well, Freddie Freeman hasn't played up to his potential this first half. And these are all three guys that can go out and swing the bat and do some serious damage. They're not just support players.
Uggla will start for the National League on Tuesday night, voted in by the fans as the starting second baseman. It will be his third All-Star appearance, right up there with Utley in so many offensive categories since 2006 among second basemen.
Yeah, both of them two of the finest offensive second basemen to play the game.
Called strike 3. So Uggla is down on strikes. Third strikeout for Joe Blanton. One away here in the Braves' fourth.
You know, and a hitter like that, when you're just letting strike 3 a fastball go down the middle of the plate, that just tells you that mentally he's got so many things going on through his head. Blanton knows that, takes advantage of it. You see Dan Uggla, especially with a guy on third, you've got nobody out. I mean, you count that as an RBI before you even get to the plate. But when you're doing a lot of thinking up there, it's tough to get the bat off your shoulder.
Uggla now 9 for his last 90.
So I said, Uggla doesn't mess around. When he goes into a slump, he does it right. 9 for 90. Like I said, it's not going to be 1 for 10. But just as cold as he is now, he can get just as hot.
Same average is 1 for 10.
It is, but it's a lot tougher to climb out of that 9 for 90 hole.
Simmons, right field. Pence makes the catch. Tagging is Freeman. And the Braves are back on top. Atlanta with a 4-3 lead. Sacrifice fly, 15th run batted in of the season for the rookie Andrelton Simmons. Well, Fox Saturday Baseball returns next week. The surprising Mets will visit Atlanta to take on these Braves. Many of you will see the Tigers and the Orioles or the Cardinals and the Reds. Fox Saturday Baseball, presented by Budweiser, returns next week at 3:30 Eastern, 12:30 Pacific. Check local listings for the game and start time in your area. Two away for the pitcher, Hansen. Struck out his first time up. Long run for the right fielder, Pence. Out of play, 0-1. 2 runs in the inning for the Braves on 3 hits and a sacrifice fly. Atlanta back on top, 4-3. McCann has driven in 2 runs. Prado and Simmons with runs batted in as well for the Braves. Hansen went around, 0-2. No 2 from Blanton, missing low. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
This is where if you're Bland, you just got to throw that fastball right down the middle. We saw Hansen does not swing the bat well. Just don't want to get yourself into trouble going 3-2.
"25 pitches thrown here in the 4th inning by Joe Blanton. Hansen gets the bat on it on one hop. Utley to first. And that will do it for the Braves in the 4th. They score 2 runs, 1 earned. Lead the Phillies 4-3. Juan took the worst of the collision. Pence takes a called strike, 0-1.
Yeah, he went down, no question about it. Pence, though, undeterred. Ran right through him and got home. Good thing Sammy there was wearing a helmet.
Foul back, 0-2 on Pence with Placido Polanco waiting on deck. Pence hot during the month of June. He's 6th in the league in home runs, 3rd in runs scored, and 10th in hits. 0-2 from Hansen, and Pence is down on strikes. Well, Shane Victorino wearing a microphone for us tonight. Here was his take on the Pence-Samwell collision.
Hey, what's wrong with this guy? Just when you think you do something totally out, bro. Dude, he rolled. He ran him completely over, not bumped him. Hey, Juan ain't no small individual either, bro. That is one for the ages, bro.
One for the ages. I agree with Shane. That was not just a bump.
No, that wasn't a bump. But Sammy's got to know better. When something's coming right at you, you go side to side. You don't backpedal. Because you backpedaling and something coming at you, going to be contact.
Simmons, what a play. Makes it look easy.
And you see, watch Samuel. Back. You got to go to your left or to your right. I'll tell you where people really learn that is if you're on the sidelines of an NFL game and the play is coming at you. You better run up the sideline or down the sideline. If you run right back, you're going to have a whole pile of football player on you. And watch that coming up on NFL and Fox. That's right around the corner, isn't it?
Starting soon. Preseason underway on Fox. August 16th in Atlanta. Bengals and Falcons.
You'll be a big part of that again. Should be having your seminar coming up.
The 19th season, hard to believe, of the NFL on Fox. Two outs, bottom of the fourth inning here in Philadelphia. Juan Pierre doubled in a run his first time up. Bounced over the glove of Hansen. Charging as Simmons makes the play. And Pierre is retired. So Andrelton Simmons with two terrific plays here in the fourth. Braves lead the Phils 4-3. Michael Bourne leading off for the Braves here in the top of the fifth inning against Joe Blanton. Braves lead the Phillies 4-3. In case you joined us late, Bourne learned earlier today that he will be heading to Kansas City. An all-star for the second time as a replacement for Ian Desmond. Bryce Harper, the 19-year-old sensation with the Washington Nationals, will also be in Kansas City on Tuesday, named as a replacement for Giancarlo Stanton of the Miami Marlins, as Bourne leads off the fifth with a base hit into left center. Second hit of the game for Michael Bourne. So 3 of the 5 National Leaguers, Eric, who are part of the final vote, will be in Kansas City on Tuesday. Chipper Jones, Michael Bourne, and Bryce Harper, 3 of the 5, all named as replacements.
Yeah, it's worked out well for the guys. All of them getting an opportunity because of injury or guys being unable to participate. But all very worthy of it.
Chipper Jones now an 8-time All-Star. He has never played a game in Kansas City. It is the only current stadium that Chipper has not played in. Braves have played the Royals just twice in interleague play, 2004 and 2010, both series at Turner Field in Atlanta. Martin Prado, an RBI double his last time up. Bourne, the runner on first. He has 23 steals, 3rd in the National League. Cole Hamels on the right. One of 3 Phillies who will represent the club on Tuesday night of the All-Star game, along with Carlos Ruiz and Jonathan Papelbon. 1-1 on Prado. No outs, top of the 5th inning here in Philadelphia. Pitch out, Bourne not going anywhere. Now 2-1.
See the guys that run a little bit. D. Gordon going to be out now for a couple of weeks. Dislocated thumb.
Fouled off to the right side. Now 2-2 on Prado. You know, we were talking about that final vote when the names were released. Bryce Harper immediately said Chipper Jones deserves to go.
Well, very noble of him as a young player, showing his respect for a guy like Chipper Jones, a future Hall of Famer. Chipper acknowledged it.
2-2, an excuse me check swing. Blanton looked at second, throws to first, and Prado is retired.
This ball just continuing to run in on Prado. He can't even get out of the way. Not much he can do right there. I'm going to swing. Oh, no, I don't want to swing. And he goes down right there. Embarrassing as a hitter because you got to get up and start to run. It's one of those balls where you commit, you think it's out over the plate, it continues to run in. You can't get out of the way, you can't stop your swing.
So now 1 out. Runner on second, Bourne. Jason Hayward takes ball 1. Hayward is 0 for 2 tonight and 0 for 8 lifetime against Blanton. One to Hayward. Center field, moving to his right. Victorino. Now 2 away. Time for a DirecTV game break. Yankees Red Sox playing 2 in Boston. Matt Fescursion.
Yeah, Kenny, in the nightcap, Pedro Siriaco called up from AAA yesterday, making his Boston debut tonight. Got that ball past Jason Nix, making a spot start at third to put Boston up 5-3. Red Sox trying to snap out of a 5-game slide. They've got the bases loaded in the 6th. Back to Kenny and Eric in Philly.
All right, thanks, Matt. Wild game last night, 5-5 after 1. Yankees won this afternoon's game 6-1. Red Sox 9.5 out of the AL East.
But again, you know, we've talked about it a number of times. You got 2 wild card teams. Boston right there in the wild card race. That's why so many teams will continue to feel like they are players come the trade deadline, because they still realistically have a chance to get to the postseason.
And of course, the 2 wild card teams in each league will play a 1-game series with the winner moving on. Chipper Jones singled and scored his last time up. Bourne takes his lead off second with 2 outs. Now 1-2 on Jones, who extended his hitting streak to 13 games in the 4th inning. Chipper down on strikes to end the inning. Bourne stranded on second. Middle of the 5th in Philadelphia. 4-3 Atlanta. Budweiser is sponsored by Chevrolet, proud to support youth baseball in cities and towns across the country. Baseball Night in America from Citizens Bank Park in Philadelphia. Kenny Albert, Eric Karros, and our entire crew with the Braves leading the Phillies 4-3. John Mayberry Jr. leads things off for the Phillies against Tommy Hanson. Mayberry, born in Kansas City, the site of Tuesday's All-Star game. His dad, John, of course, played for the Kansas City Royals. Potential to walk his first time up back in the 2nd inning, when the Phillies sent 7 men to the plate and scored 3 runs. Hansen has settled down since then. He's retired the Phillies in order in both the third and the fourth innings. In case you joined us late, Ryan Howard rejoined the Phillies. Played his first game of the season last night. Out of the starting lineup here tonight. 0-2 to Mayberry. Did he go around? Yes. Strikeout number 4 for Hansen.
Just a steady diet of breaking balls right there, all out of the zone. Mayberry unable to hold up his swing. You watch this pitch, and again, it's not a strike. Out of the zone. Mayberry anxious, can't hold up the swing. Hansen doing a nice job so far after that 3-run inning, able to shut the Phillies down.
And here's Joe Blanton, big part of that inning. The bases loaded, run scoring single. The last Philly with a base hit.
Well, in a situation where Hansen was ahead in the count 1-2 and then started to mess around through 2 curveballs. See Ryan Howard looking on. Took the count to 3-2, then threw a fastball right down the middle that Blanton laced to right field.
Our Jeep game summary with the Braves leading by a run. Hansen and Blanton starting pitchers tonight. Chipper Jones extending his hitting streak to 13 games. Brian McCann with a solo home run for the Braves back in the second inning.
Yeah, Brian McCann, again, we talked about how hot he's been as of late, how he was going to have to continue that the second half, and he swung the bat extremely well tonight, thrown out a runner at second trying to steal.
Two from Hansen. Blanton gets the bat on it, lines out to the first baseman Freeman for out number 2. Time for another game break. Let's head to the MLB Network studios. Matt Feskersian.
Kenny, Yankees and Red Sox playing a doubleheader, as you know, and an ex-Brave feeling good tonight. Andrew Jones hit 2 home runs in the first game of the doubleheader. He's done it again in the nightcap, having himself quite a month tonight. Red Sox up a run late. Back to you guys in Philly.
Wow, 3 home runs today in the doubleheader up in Boston for Andrew Jones of the Yankees. Jimmy Rollins with 2 outs takes a called strike.
It's pretty good, but it's not like Nate Colbert, the San Diego Padres, Stan Musial of the Cardinals. 5 home runs in the doubleheader, each of them.
Andrew Jones, of course, from Curacao, the idol of the young Brave shortstop Andrelton Simmons, Curacao native as well.
And he's made some nice plays tonight. Freddie Gonzalez talking about how fluid he looks. Makes everything look effortless. Showing off an extremely strong arm. Quickness as well.
2 terrific defensive plays made by Simmons back in the 4th inning. As Rollins strikes out. 5th strikeout for Hansen, the 3rd consecutive 1-2-3 inning. everything. It's the plan that revolves around you, only from Verizon. And by the Bourne Legacy, there was never just one, in theaters August 10th. 4-3 lead for the Braves as Freddie Freeman leads off against Joe Blanton here in the top of the 6th inning. Braves 4 runs on 7 hits. Phillies 3 runs on 4 hits and 1 error as Ruiz heads out to the mound.
Yeah, you know, this is an inning right now where Blanton's got to keep these guys close. Doesn't want to have things explode on him. Remember, the Braves scored their runs. Chipper Jones started off with a single. Then Freeman had a hit. McCann had a hit. This is the guy who's got to retire because McCann is on deck, who's been hot.
One and two on Freeman. He'll be followed by McCann and then Ugla. Freeman down on strikes. 5th strikeout for Joe Blanton. Well, this MLB on Fox season, Fox Sports is proud to support Boys and Girls Clubs of America, a place where youth can reach their full potential as productive, caring, responsible citizens. To learn more, please visit greatfutures.org/Fox Sports. Braves with a 4-3 lead here in Philadelphia. Kenny Albert, Eric Karros, and when you look at these two organizations, Eric, over the last 2 decades, they have dominated this National League East. Braves and Phillies have won a combined 16 of the last 17 division crowns.
Well, they have, but it may be different this year, and it most likely will be different. You know, Washington, their pitching staff, they just look like they are going to continue to dominate. And if they do pick up a bat at the deadline, they become that much more lethal. The Mets, they don't appear to be going away. Well, Philadelphia just this year, I just think that that's an insurmountable lead. I mean, you can't be 15 games back in the loss column with 3 clubs in between you and the first place club and expect to win the division.
McCann called out on strikes. 3 consecutive strikeouts for Blanton. McCann not happy about it as he voices his displeasure to the home plate umpire Bob Davidson.
And if you're a catcher, you're not going to argue unless you feel like you've got a real gripe, and he's got a real gripe out there. That pitch is set up about 2 or 3 inches offside, and then Ruiz brings the ball back as well. McCann just wants to make sure that he gets that call for his pitcher when he's out there. He'll get well off the plate here. Bring it back some. And again, a catcher typically will not argue because he doesn't want to put his pitcher behind the 8 ball.
Now the 0-2 from Blanton, and Ugla fouls it off to the right side. The 0-2 from Blanton. Fouled back just underneath our broadcast booth. Nice catch made by a fan. Count remains 0-2. There he is.
Save the beverage in one hand, the ball in the other. That is what you call athletic ability right there.
He was a 5-tool fan. You had some of that earlier.
Yes, I did. I went back last inning, too, hoping that my man Frank could still be scooping up the ice cream in the press room, but they had shut it down.
In fact, if you check out the MLB on Fox Twitter account, you can see Eric in action.
Oh, you have your choice of 2 pictures, I believe. 2 different trips to the The ice cream line.
Wearing two different shirts. Little bloop to the right side. Catch is made by Mayberry. And Blanton retires the Braves in order in the 6th.
Indians and Shelley Duncan's 8th inning home run, sealing up the finishing touches on a victory for Ubaldo Jimenez and the Tribe. Rays 5-14 against the AL Central. Yankees Red Sox tying run aboard. Derek Jeter trying to bunt for a hit with 2 away. That snuffed out. Boston continues to lead as we get you back out to Kenny and Eric in Philly.
All right, thanks very much, Matt. Game started 58 minutes late following a rain delay. We now move to the bottom of the 6th inning. Braves 5-0 winners last night. Lead this game 4-3 as Shane Victorino leads off for the Phils. Takes strike 1 from Tommy Hanson. Victorino 0 for 2. He'll be followed by Utley and then Ruiz.
Well, and this inning becomes very important for the Phillies. They've got their 2, 3, 4 hitters up to the plate. Victorino, Utley, and Ruiz. But more importantly, the Braves, when they lead, after 6 innings, they are 37-1. And that's the best record in all of Major League Baseball.
Wow. Now the 1-2 to Victorino. Reaches out. Right field, Jason Hayward, 1 away.
Again, Hanson doing a nice job tonight, just keeping the Phillies at bay. You know, the only time he really got into trouble was in that 2nd inning, and I'll go right to one at-bat, and that was the at-bat by Joe Blanton. You know, he had Blanton 1 and 2, the pitcher down, and he messed around with a couple curveballs, goes to a 3-2 count, has to lay a fastball in there, and then boom, RBI hit. Hanson on a stretch right now where he's retired 11 in a row.
And the Phillies have not had any other base runners aside from the 2nd inning. Hanson has retired the Phillies in order in the 1st, 3rd, 4th, and 5th innings. Chase Utley 0 for 2. 2-1 on Utley, 1 out. Bottom of the 6th inning in Philadelphia with the Braves on top 4-3.
Hey, right now McCann's upset. He's hot right now. You see him looking down right now. I'm sure he's talking to Bob Davidson. He's giving him something right now. He wants that pitch, especially after having a pitch that was off the plate called on him for strike 3.
3-1 from Hansen, up the middle, diving stop by Simmons, fires to first in time, and Utley is retired. Another spectacular play by the rookie shortstop Andrelton Simmons.
I'm telling you, right now, it looks like there's 7 Simmons out there playing. I mean, he's everywhere. It looks like he's playing short, behind the pitcher, playing out up the middle. This guy is everywhere. Able to gather his feet. He knows the runner, sets himself, and uses that good, strong arm. Makes a perfect throw to Freeman.
And did it with his necklace in his face. See that?
It's athleticism.
Tucks it back in very nicely. Not a distraction whatsoever. Carlos Ruiz 1 for 2. Came into the game with a .349 batting average. What's that necklace?
Yeah, it's a little bit of a mustache there. All young players, when they get to the big leagues, like to have that starter necklace.
Ruiz now at .351. A look at the catchers who have led the Phillies in batting average. Check out 1971. Our colleague Tim McCarver led the Phillies with a .278 batting average.
Yep, going to be inducted into the broadcasters wing of the Hall of Fame
2 weeks from today. Ford C. Frick Award up in Cooperstown. As Ruiz strikes out, it is the 4th consecutive 1-2-3 inning for Tommy Hansen. We'll return after these messages from your local Fox station. Time for the Just for Men Auto Stop foolproof stat. A look at the most runs batted in by players whose primary position was third base. Chipper just 2 behind George Brett and 1 in back of Michael Jack Schmidt. Just as the Braves have counted on Chipper Jones for 19 seasons, you can count on Just for Men Auto Stop for foolproof results. Andrelton Simmons doing it all tonight. Leads off the 7th inning with a base hit into left field. He drove in a run with a sacrifice fly in the 4th and has made a number of superb defensive plays. So Simmons ends an 0 for 14 slump at the plate, and the leadoff man is on for the Braves here in the 7th.
Didn't exactly smoke the ball, but he doesn't care right now. Just happy to see first base. Hansen has to be bunting right now.
Well, Blanton helped his own cause earlier. Let's see what Hansen can do. He's 0 for 2 tonight and 1 for 29 this season. He squares. And the pitch is high and tight from Blanton. Ball 1. Simmons takes his lead off first. Now 2-0.
Well, you got to continue to keep the bunt on. Again, Hansen not accomplished enough to do a slash play.
Hansen lays down the bunt and is tagged out by Mayberry. So Hansen does his job as Simmons moves to second. Do you want to win cool prizes, including a trip to the 2012 World Series just by watching the All-Star Game on Fox this Tuesday? Play All-Star Bingo, presented by Pepsi Max during the Midsummer Classic, and you can be on your way. Go to MLB.com/bingo to enter now. Here's Michael Bourne, who has 2 hits tonight. Jake Diekman, the left-hander, up and throwing in the Phillies pen. Another hot night in Philadelphia, 91 degrees at game time. 1-1 from Blanton, missing away, now 2-1. Eric, you'll be heading to Kansas City, working on the pregame set on Tuesday night. And how about Tim McCarver, his record 21st All-Star broadcast?
And a big reason why he's going into the Hall of Fame. One of the best that he's ever been. Continuing to go strong. Looking forward to seeing Tim in Kansas City.
He also scored the winning run in the 10th inning in the 1966 Midsummer Classic.
And also released a CD.
Yes, he did.
You can get a hold of that for your listening pleasure.
Bourne heads down to first. First walk issued by Blanton. Braves with runners on first and second, only 1 out. Our Lexus in-game box score. 2 hits for Bourne, 2 hits for McCann, including a home run in his 3rd consecutive game.
Well, we talked about it at the top of the show. McCann is a guy that is going to have to get real productive this second half of the season for the Braves. Been swinging the bat well as of late. Another home run tonight. But he's a guy that just has not lived up to what he's capable of doing this first half.
Martin Prado, 1 for 3, doubled in a run back in the 3rd inning. Simmons the runner at second, Bourne over at first. Bourne on base for the 3rd time tonight. And the fastball is in for strike 1 to Prado. .110 pitches for Blanton, who threw a complete game shutout in Atlanta back on May 3rd. Fouled off to the right side, 0-2. And we talked about these two teams dominating the National League East. Braves won the East 11 straight years from 1995 through 2005. It was the Mets in 06 and the Phillies the last 5 years. So 16 of the last 17 seasons, either the Braves or the Phillies have finished in first place in the NL East.
I don't think it's going to be the Phillies this year. The Braves are still in the thick of things, but Washington again looks real formidable with that pitching staff of theirs. It just keeps them from going into any kind of prolonged losing streak. And the Mets, the longer they stay around, the more and more they believe that they actually deserve to be where they're at. They've got a darn good pitching staff and David Wright, an MVP type season.
12 wins for R.A. Dickey. Johan Santana with a no-hitter.
We'll see these Mets next week on Fox. Mets and the Braves in Atlanta.
Mets beat the Cubs today 3-1. Nationals 4-1 over the Rockies, so the Mets remain 4.5 out. Up the middle, base hit for Prado. Around third, Simmons. And the throw to the plate bounces off the mound. The Braves take a 5-3 lead. Second RBI tonight, 37th of the season for Martin Prado. Here comes Charlie Manuel out of the Phillies dugout as his club has fallen behind by 2 runs.
Well, we put up that stat earlier. The Braves, when they're ahead after the 6th inning, are 37-1. They're ahead right now. There could be 38-1, up 5-3.
Here comes Jake Diekman out of the Phillies pen. Diekman out of the Phillies pen on a relief of Joe Blanton, who went 6 1/3, 19th appearance for the rookie Diekman this season. And he will face Jason Hayward, who was 0 for 3 tonight. There's Blanton. Chatting with Cliff Lee. Brian Snyder to his right. Runners on first and second, one out. Fastball in for a called strike, 0-1.
Not an easy at bat for any left-handed hitter. Diekman, tall and lanky, reminds me a lot of Chris Sale of the White Sox. Just coming at you, a lot of arms and elbows, throws across his body.
Both runners go, and the pitch is off the glove of Ruiz. So the Braves now with second and third, and one out.
Well, this is the Braves taking advantage of a young pitcher. He's not paying attention. They're trying to make things happen. And that's one of the things that Charlie Manuel was telling us about his young bullpen. They've got the arms. They just don't have the experience. That's only going to come with constantly getting opportunities out there on the mound.
So a double steal. Bourne now with 24 stolen bases. Prado has 10. The 1-1 to Hayward, and he rips it foul down the right field line. Well, tune in tomorrow on Fox Sports South for the final game of this series. Final game prior to the All-Star break. Coverage starts at 1 Eastern. Braves will send Jair Jurgens back up from the minor leagues to the mound against fellow right-hander Vance Worley. Jurgens 2-2 this season. Worley is 4-5. Infield in, 1-2 to Hayward. He strikes out, and now coming home is Bourne, and he scores. Braves now lead 6-3.
Well, that was one All-Star taking advantage of another All-Star. Michael Bourne taking advantage of Carlos Ruiz, who appears to look him back, but doesn't really do much anything. Gets it. He's looking at it before he has the ball. But when he picks up the ball and goes to throw it, he's gone. Michael Bourne celebrating his All-Star selection. Of the heck of a night tonight. A couple of hits, 2 steals right there.
Two runs in the inning for the Braves, extending to a 6-3 lead. And now the Phillies will intentionally walk Chipper Jones with first base open. So the series finale here tomorrow. Phillies will host a massive food drive. No game ticket is needed to attend. Fans who bring a non-perishable food donation to a truck parked on Citizens Bank Way between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. will receive a free reusable grocery bag. There will be fun events for kids of all ages, an appearance by the Philly Fanatic, and a special visit by Phillies legend Greg the Bull Luzinski.
I'm not sure I'd like to be the Philly Fanatic in this weather right now.
No.
That's got to be hot. It's hot, hot, and hot.
So Chipper heads down to first. Excited to head to his 8th All-Star game. Played in his first here in Philadelphia at the old vet. 1996, Charles Nagy on the mound, a single in his first at bat. And then 4 years later, in his home ballpark, the 2000 All-Star game, 3 hits, including a home run off James Baldwin in the 3rd inning. Freddie Freeman takes strike one. Braves with 2 runs in the inning on 2 hits, 2 walks. They have 3 steals, including Michael Bourne's 2nd career steal of home plate. And now another stolen base as Prado slides safely into 3rd. It's the 4th steal of the inning for Atlanta.
And they're running off of the pitcher here, Diekman. Really not paying attention. See, never even looks back at second base. Ruiz deciding to not even make a throw.
Now 2-2 on Freeman, who singled and scored back in the 4th inning. He's 1 for 3. Pitch is low from Diekman. Count is full. Look at a couple of rookie Triple Crown winners in the National League. 19 years apart.
Look at that average I threw out there, 257. Woo! Boy, oh boy.
One of the two has a bobblehead. Eric Goddard at Dodger Stadium 2 Thursdays ago. Utley to Mayberry. Freeman is retired, but the Braves add to their lead. It's 7th inning stretch time, 6-3 Atlanta. DirecTV. If you call yourself a sports fan, you gotta get DirecTV. And by the Lexus CT Hybrid, miles from ordinary. Back in Philadelphia, baseball night in America. Bottom of the 7th inning. Atlanta Braves, a 5-0 win here last night, leading this game 6-3. And Tommy Hanson has retired the last 13 Phillies he has faced. Has not allowed a base runner other than second inning when the Phillies scored 3 runs on 4 hits. Hunter Pence scored the first run, was involved in that collision with his third base coach Juan Samuel. So Pence leads off here in the bottom of the 7th inning and has his second hit of the game. First Phillies base runner since the second. Our Lexus in-game box score for the Phils is coming up. Here it is. Pence, the only Philly with 2 hits. Ruiz And Pierre with doubles.
Well, and you see the top of the lineup, Rollins, Victorino, and Utley not doing much of anything. Not setting the table for anybody, not making anything happen. And, you know, those are those core guys. Those are the guys that Philadelphia expects to get back involved in anything in the second half. They're going to have monster second halves.
So Hansen's streak comes to an end. He had retired 13 in a row. Eric O'Flaherty, the left-hander. Chris Medlin, the right-hander. In the Braves' pen. Hansen coming off a loss to the Cubs on Monday, 4-1. He had won his prior 4 decisions. His 86th pitch tonight. And Placido Polanco fouls it off down the right field line. 0-1.
Well, if you just want to look at these two ball clubs, the Braves and the Phillies, you could look at today's ball game. You know, the Braves, the top 2 in the order, they've been the key to the offense. Bourne and Prado, the middle of the order starting to produce. The pitching's been very consistent. The Phillies, though, 1 inning, they score their runs. The middle relief has been shaky.
Here's Simmons to second for 1. Over to first. Double play. The Braves turn the 6-4-3, and it starts with Simmons.
And you can just see that these two teams are heading in different directions. You know, Simmons making a nice play to get things going. Ugla, a nice turn. Freeman picking it up cleanly. Just see Simmons just so smooth. Gets it over there. Ugla, Pence on top of him. Nice little pick by Freddie Freeman over there.
And you mentioned the top of the Braves order. Bourne and Prado. They've been on base 5 times. They've driven in 2 runs. They've stolen 4 bases. And then on the Phillies side, Rollins and Victorino, a combined 0 for 6. And then if you extend to the number 3 hitter, Utley, top of the order, 0 for 9. Juan Pierre drove in one of the 3 Philly runs back in the second inning with a double to right field. He would come around to score. Another sellout crowd here at Citizens Bank Park with the Fanatic trying to get things going in the stands. 44,797. It's the 247th consecutive sellout. A streak that began 3 years ago tonight.
Well, and you just have to wonder how long that continues. Because remember, you know, the Phillies have been one of the dominant teams in all of baseball over the last 5, 6, 7 years. Right now, where they're at, I don't want to say they're at a crossroads, but they've got some veteran guys that aren't as healthy as they used to be. They've got some guys that are potential free agents.
Hamels and Victorino.
Ruben Amaro has got to decide which way he takes this organization as the general manager. It's not an easy choice. There's Ruben right there. Done a great job of assembling the ball club, getting guys. You know, you just can't control injuries, and that's what's happened this year. And you started out in spring training. You don't have your big bats in Howard and Utley. Holiday goes down.
Backhand play by Freeman. The toss to Hansen. He beats Pierre to the bag. 7 innings in the books here in Philadelphia. 6-3 Braves. Welcome back to Baseball Night in America, presented by Budweiser. Kenny Albert, Eric Karros here in Philadelphia. Brian McCann leads off for the Braves, top of the 8th inning. 6 runs on 9 hits for Atlanta, 3 runs, only 5 hits, 1 error for Philadelphia. Jake Diekman working his 2nd inning in relief of Joe Blanton. Blanton, Philly starter, went 6 1/3. Allowed 6 runs on 9 hits. Brian McCann, the big blow last night. 8th inning grand slam, 9th of his career, 2nd against the Phillies this season. He's driven in 2 of the 6 Braves runs tonight. Dan Uggla waiting on deck. Then Andrelton Simmons. Jonathan Papelbon in the Phillies pen. 18 saves this season, his first year with the Phils. And as you mentioned earlier, the rest of the Phillies bullpen has struggled.
Well, they really have. And you take a look at that, that tells a real story. 0-10 as far as saves and opportunities, that home runs allowed. They just haven't been able to get the ball to Papel. They turn it over to the middle of the relief, and look, they thought they had Chad Qualls at the beginning of the season. Contreras was going to fill a role, and Michael Stutz ended up getting hurt. All these sorts of things have impacted that middle relief. Bastardo hasn't had the year that they had hoped.
Mayberry to Diekman covering to retire McCann. Qualls traded to the Yankees earlier this week. Phillies made a couple of deals. They sent Jim Thome to the Orioles last weekend, and then Chad Qualls to the New York Yankees.
And that's where maybe with Holiday coming back and Lee hoping to get on a roll, Hamels has been great. Those starters, maybe you've got to extend them a little bit. Limit that middle relief, get the ball to Papelbon, and let him do his thing.
Cliff Lee won for the first time this season earlier this week in New York in 14 starts.
Well, it's just like we said at the top of the show. I mean, it's hard to believe that Joe Blanton has 2 complete games, and that is more than Lee, Hamels, and Halladay have combined. I mean, that's crazy.
Here's Roy Halladay on the right, scheduled to pitch down in Clearwater during the All-Star break. Cole Hamels on the left. He's headed to Kansas City, a 10-game winner this season.
Well, and you see the dominance of Cole Hamels this year. 10-4, the ERA at 3.2. Probably what's been most impressive is even when he doesn't have his great stuff, he's gone out there and he's battled. Just like his start against the Mets, R.A. Dickey.
Rollins. Uggla is retired. He is now 0 for 4. Well, All-Star Game festivities continue. On Monday, it's the Home Run Derby on ESPN. Tuesday, see the players arrive on the red carpet show on MLB Network, followed by the 2012 All-Star Game right here on Fox, 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific from Kansas City. 4 Braves will be on hand, 3 Phillies. 2 outs, top of the 8th inning. Andrelton Simmons takes ball 1. Chipper Jones, an 8-time All-Star, will become only the 5th 40-year-old non-pitcher to play in the All-Star game since the year 2000. Joining Barry Bonds, who was 42 back in 2007. Cal Ripken Jr., 40 in 2001. Edgar Martinez, 40 in 2003. And Barry Larkin, 40 in 2004. All-Stars at 40 plus. Polanco across to retire Simmons. Middle of the 8th inning here in Philadelphia. Baseball night in America. By the makers of Bayer Advanced Aspirin, the official pain reliever of Major League Baseball. And by Samsung, the next big thing is here. Six-3 Braves, bottom of the 8th inning. Game started 58 minutes late following a rain delay. Braves took a 1-0 lead in the second on a Brian McCann homer. Phillies then scored 3 in the bottom of the second inning. But it's been all Braves since, as John Mayberry leads off. Action in the Braves pen. Tommy Hanson, 93 pitches through 7 innings. Bounce foul off to the left side. 1-1. Jason Friday has come out on deck to bat for the pitcher Diekman. Now 1-2 on Mayberry.
Well, Tommy Hanson has continued to throw well. You see Jacob Diekman there. He's 0-1 here in 3 career starts, but he's got a 1.2 ERA. Nobody's hit him here, giving up an average of 154. Freddie Gonzalez telling us before the game, you're talking about he and Hudson being starters 1 and 1A. He felt like he's got 2 number 1s on this ball club.
Brandon Beachy on the disabled list following Tommy John surgery as Mayberry beats the throw. Leadoff man on for the Phillies here in the 8th. Well, this Tuesday, don't miss the biggest event of the summer. Baseball's greatest stars battle for home field advantage in the Fall Classic. The road to the World Series begins with the 2012 All-Star Game Tuesday, 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific on Fox. An infield single for Mayberry. And now with Pridey announced as the pinch hitter, Freddie Gonzalez calls for the left-hander, Eric O'Flaherty. With the leadoff man on here in the bottom of the 8th. And the Braves leading the Phillies 6-3. Replaced by the 27-year-old left-hander Eric O'Flaherty. Hansen threw 99 pitches. He is responsible for Mayberry, the runner on first. Now, Jason Pridey, the lefty, was announced as the pinch hitter. Gonzalez makes the move to the left-hander O'Flaherty. So now Ty Wigginton will pinch hit for Pridey. Wigginton has started 58 games this season, 41 at first base in the absence of Ryan Howard. He's batting .249. Comes to the plate with runner on first, nobody out. Bottom of the 8th inning, Phillies trailing by 3. Wigginton, an all-star 2 years ago, representing the Orioles. Bounce to the left side, Chipper Jones to second. And the throw beats Mayberry. It was close. Wigginton on at first.
Well, it's interesting. Take a look at this slide by Mayberry into third and watch his right leg. It almost looks like it goes up over the base. And Chipper doesn't make that strong of a throw, but he doesn't go right into the base. See how it's up in the air? You know, as opposed to going right into the base. See how it's up? You know, and not to say that he would have beat it, but it would have been a lot closer, made it a much more difficult call for the second base umpire.
Kind of a flip by Chipper Jones.
Yeah, I'm not so sure he had a good grip on the ball.
Now Jimmy Rollins takes a called strike. Rollins 0 for 3, drove in a run on a fielder's choice back in the second inning. One out, bottom of the 8th. Braves lead 6-3. Shane Victorino waiting on deck. Ryan Howard is available. Made his season debut for the Phillies last night, went 2 for 4. Now to the starting lineup tonight.
There's a big man right there, Ryan Howard. May get an opportunity against the great closer of the Braves, Greg Kimbrell.
Simmons with the flip to Ugla, on to first. And the Braves turn a 6-4-3 for the second consecutive inning. We head to the 9th in Philadelphia. Leading 6-3. It has been a hot week, 91 degrees at game time today. These fans sat through a 58-minute rain delay. As we mentioned, 247th consecutive sellout crowd in this ballpark. Phillies lead the majors in average attendance.
Yeah, great fan support. Reason why a lot of guys love to play here in Philly.
27-year-old Jeremy Horst facing pinch hitter Matt Diaz. Hitting for the pitcher O'Flaherty. Diaz with a pinch single in the 8th inning last night came around to score. Braves scored all 5 runs in the game in that 8th inning last night, including the McCann grand slam. They lead tonight 6-3. Jeremy Horst making his 4th appearance this season with the Phillies. Former Cincinnati Red is not allowed to hit this season. Batters are 0 for 8 against Horst.
He's one of those guys that's effectively wild. You throw one a couple inches off the plate, then the next one's on the corner, next one's off, next one's on the corner. Again, another one of those good arms out of the pen.
Some high heat. Diaz down on strikes. So one away here in the top of the ninth inning. The All-Star Game Tuesday on Fox. Michael Bourne will be there representing the Braves in the National League. Named earlier today as a replacement for Ian Desmond. Bourne, a fourth-round pick of the Phillies back in 2003. Traded to Houston and then to Atlanta last year. He and Prado have set the table tonight. They've been on base 5 times. Bourne has scored 2 runs. He stole home after stealing third back in the 7th inning.
Yeah, and that steal of home, Ruiz had blocked the ball for strike 3, picked it up in front of the plate, looked Bourne back to third, and then threw to first. Bourne took off, beat the throw easily. You know, not only does he have speed, but he's got baseball instincts. He's a good base runner as well. Just because you're fast, that doesn't make you a good base runner, but very intelligent out there on the base paths.
Another base hit for Bourne, his third of the game. He's on base for the 4th time.
Now you're talking about being on base. This is when he stole home. And you watch Ruiz, look, and the minute he turns towards first, Bourne takes off. And it's almost as if Ruiz needed to look at him, look at first, then look back to third, because the minute he turned his head from third and went to first, Bourne took off.
So with Bourne taking his lead off first, here's Prado, who has 2 hits and has driven in 2 runs tonight. Bourne spent the entire 2007 season with the Phillies. Then in November of 07, traded to Houston, his hometown, in the Brad Lidge deal. Trade that worked out tremendously for the Phillies back in 2008 when Lidge was perfect and the Phillies won the World Series.
Yeah, I'd say that worked out. But Bourne, a very athletic player, always highly sought after, and the Phillies, they didn't want to give him up, but again, to acquire a guy like Lidge, who was so instrumental in that World Series run.
For Michael Bourne, 3 hits tonight. It's his 15th game this season with at least 3 hits. That leads all of baseball. Bourne goes. Throw to second by Mayberry is in time. And Bourne, who stole third and stole home back in the 7th inning, will head back to the Braves dugout.
Well, he thinks he's safe, and I think he got his foot in there before the tag got down. Very tough for the first baseman here. I think he was easily in there. Safe, easily.
I agree. Mike Malinsky, the second base umpire, thought otherwise.
Safe. And you see, after the left leg goes over, the right leg comes right on the base. So he can't say that he was off the bag at some point. Just a missed call.
So Bourne 2 for 3 tonight in stolen base attempts. Now the 2-2 to Prado, full count. Prado is called out on strikes. So we head to the bottom of the 9th in Philadelphia. Phillies trail by 3. Victorino, Utley, Ruiz due up against Kimbrel. Play of the day. Second inning, Brian McCann goes deep for the third consecutive game. His 12th of the year off Joe Blanton. He would drive in another run in the fourth. Grand slam last night. McCann has driven in 6 of the Braves' 11 runs in this series.
Hey, it has been hot. You know, there could be a number of things we could have used. Tommy Hanson out on the mound, great. Andrelton Simmons out at short, some great plays. Michael Bourne out in center, getting on base, wreaking havoc.
Here's Craig Kimbrell, voted in by the players, heading to Kansas City this Tuesday, trying to nail down his 24th save.
Marty Aronoff helping us out in the booth here gave me a note that the Phillies have sent the minimum 3 batters to the plate in 7 of their 8 innings tonight.
Marty's all over it. Phillies sent 7 men to the plate in the second. Actually sent an 8th man to the plate, Victorino, but Rollins was caught stealing, so technically 7. 5, 1, 2, 3 innings. And then in each of the last 2 innings, the 7th and the 8th, a leadoff base hit. Pence in the 7th, Mayberry in the 8th. But the Braves have turned a pair of 6-4-3 double plays, both starting with Simmons. So Charlie Manuel's Phillies, barring a huge rally here in the 9th, will suffer their 9th loss in the last 10 games. The 1-2 from Kimbrell to Victorino, a called strike 3. Victorino heads back to the Phillies dugout. He is 0 for 4. Great job by our entire crew tonight here in Philadelphia. Our director, Jim Lynch, Associate Director, Kathy Hunt, Broadcast Associate, Gilbert Cepeda, Technical Director, Simon Benazra, Executive Producers of the pregame show, Don Bowie and Mike Santini. The producer is Ethan Kleinbert, and the director is Mark Deaver. Marty Aronoff crunching the numbers here in the broadcast booth. Chase Utley, 0 for 3.
Well, you see that 97-mile-an-hour fastball. You know, this is why the players voted Kimbrell at the All-Star game. I mean, they have to face him, and they just know how nasty he is. 31 innings, only allowed 13 hits. And now with that strikeout of Victorino, has struck out 53 hitters.
For Kimbrell, his 2nd consecutive All-Star appearance. And the Braves are now 1 out away. Oh, check that. Still 2 outs away. That was ruled a foul ball. So Utley heads back to the plate. Behind him the count, 0-2.
See off the right foot of Chase Utley. First base umpire calling it fair. Bob Davidson overruling it.
.97-mile-per-hour heat from Kimbrell. Count remains 0-2. As you saw, nobody with more saves than Craig Kimbrell since the start of the 2011 season. 46 last year, which tied for the league lead. And also set a Major League Baseball rookie record. 23 saves this year. Papelbon can only watch. 1-2 to Utley. Now 2 balls, 2 strikes. Utley pops it foul off to the left side. Carlos Ruiz waiting on deck. One out, bottom of the ninth inning. Braves with a 6-3 lead. They've come back from a 3-1 deficit. Braves have scored the last 5 runs in the game. 1 in the third, 2 in the fourth, 2 more in the seventh. Utley is called out on strike. Second strikeout for Kimbrel. Now the Phillies are down to their final out.
Kimbrel dropping the slider there on him. You know, we talked about all game long about, you know, the Braves and, you know, some of the guys in the second half offensively, Brian McCann and Dan Uggla, Freddie Freeman hitting a little better. But there's another piece, too, that the Braves hope to get back and hope to get back in a big way, and that's in the bullpen. That's Johnny Venters, the left-hander, out right now, trying to gather himself, but he's been so integral in the Braves bullpen, basically unhittable last year. He's had some struggles, but if they can get him back, get him right, it just makes his ball club more dominant.
Venters, like Kimbrel, an all-star last season. Ruiz fouls it off the catcher, McCann. 0-2.
Well, this is just a body blow right here. All right shoulder right there. You see it buckle McCann. You know, lucky he has those little flaps on the shoulder.
McCann awaiting the 0-2 from Kimbrel. Ruiz, center field. Bourne is under it. And the Atlanta Braves have taken the first 2 games in this series from the Philadelphia Phillies. McCann got things started with his 12th home run back in the second inning, third in as many games. Braves win it by the score of 6-3 as Hansen wins his 10th of the season. We'll return to Philadelphia right after these messages from your local Fox station.